How you guys all doing? Welcome back to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Manny Maradiege. Today is Thursday, June the 20th, and on today's show, we're going to be going over some more stuff regarding the NFL, obviously, but more around the topic of some new places, some new situations for some of the players I have in store today. Starting off with Matthew Stafford, looking for a new contract, potentially a raise in that new contract, whereas before it was understood that he just wanted more guaranteed money. That could be bumped up as well on his annual salary. Then we're going to move on and talk about Austin Ekeler in his new location with the Washington Commanders. Why did he decide to leave from the Los Angeles Chargers? That'll be discussed later on. And also Amari Cooper and the Cleveland Browns, talking about a new contract with him. How much could he be looking to get, and what did their general manager have to say about the entire situation, about Amari Cooper holding out so far through this offseason, plus much more on today's show. So remember to like, follow, and subscribe to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast. And as a final reminder, if you have any questions or comments you want to make, use the tip and donations link, GSMCPodcast.net. By using that link, I'm able to see your question or comment and read it online, and that way, get your guys' perspective, any thoughts you have to say on what I say or any of the topics on today's show. It's a massive help for the show and also the network, so if you guys would, use the tip and donations link, GSMCPodcast.net. We would greatly appreciate it every time you guys are able to do that. But like I mentioned, going back to the first topic, starting off with Matthew Stafford, another quarterback that isn't talked about too much in the media circles about getting a new contract extension, because his doesn't really stem from trying to find new validation, some new contract worth. With everybody getting a ton of money now, obviously, Stafford's is a little bit different because he's looking more so for the guaranteed money. That's what's most important for him at this point in his career, because he is now 36 years old. And as far as we know, Stafford, unlike any of the other quarterbacks or most of the quarterbacks, he has also shown up to the mandatory minicamp. He hasn't really shown any signs of holding out. Now, once training camp comes, that could be a little different if he does decide to not show up, but he hasn't given any indication of that. And even though it's been known that he has wanted his contract adjusted, that's the term that everyone's been using for Matthew Stafford. In 2024, Stafford is set to make $31 million guaranteed, but then after that, in the final year or so of his contract, there's no more guaranteed money left. And that's obviously a problem once you get closer to the other half of 30s, maybe closer to 40. You could sustain more injuries more often than not, and you want to get that security, obviously. That makes sense, but his average annual salary also with his current contract is set at about $40 million, and outside of the top 10 in the highest paid quarterback rankings, the next highest paid after all the quarterbacks that make $50 million per year is Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray currently makes $46 million per year, and then you have Matthew Stafford all the way back at $40 million per year. And honestly, going off of how much they're worth, if they're worth as much as their contract, I don't think there's over 10 quarterbacks better than Matthew Stafford. Off the top of my head, I could probably name 6 or 7, but then it's really hard to put anybody ahead of Matthew Stafford. Even at 36 years old, I think he still gives a great chance for any team. If he was on any team, I think he would give them a great chance to still be as good as they were with any other quarterback in the league. So that's one thing, but we're really talking about the guaranteed money. And like I mentioned, he just turned 36, so how much guaranteed money are the Los Angeles Rams willing to give him at this point in his career? Now, also a potential raise has been brought up recently because some sources around the NFL are looking at these other quarterback contracts, all these, massive explosions in how much these quarterbacks earn nowadays. And Matthew Stafford might be looking at it, and he hasn't come out and said it. Obviously, no one would really expect him to do that, but with Trevor Lawrence getting a ton of money, Jared Goff, now you have Tua, Dak, and and Jordan Love. That's another maybe 3 quarterbacks that could be making $50 to $40 million, and then that would just push Matthew Stafford further down the line. So at that point, if you're going to negotiate some more guaranteed money, why not negotiate some more money just on an average annual salary that could be coming your way? And that's where this has sort of taken a turn a little bit, according to Ian Rappaport, reporting on the situation by saying, the breakdown essentially here is that Stafford, my understanding is, wants more guaranteed money. It doesn't sound like he would mind a raise either. He wants his contract adjusted, and that is reasonable to believe for a few reasons that I will get to in just a few seconds. But the biggest issue with that at 36 years old right away is that age, the injury factor, with Matthew Stafford sustaining an injury back in 2022 as most recently. That does scare you a little bit, but then in 2023 he came back, almost recorded 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He led the Los Angeles Rams back into the playoffs with an exciting new team. He's really become the leader, the voice of reason in there, especially now with Aaron Donald retiring. He is one of the elder members of that locker room, and he just garners a lot of respect. I think when anybody comes in, all these young rookies, all these young players that they just have in general, once Matthew Stafford talks, once you see him come into the room, he has a different aura around him. He has a different energy that just, makes people respect him, and I think he has earned that, and keeping him on the team does nothing but good things for the Los Angeles Rams, obviously. There were some talks about maybe the Rams thinking of moving on from him, not really trying to give him much more guaranteed money, but Sean McVay has shut down all those rumors of moving on from Matthew Stafford. It seems like they're very comfortable with him leading them for the next year to 3 years, however long he wants to play. That's up to him, but Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay seem to be on the same page as to wanting to stay with the Rams, but obviously Stafford wants a little bit more guaranteed money, and that is the most important thing. Talking about a raise, I think that could be secondary, just because I think Stafford doesn't really worry about being the highest paid quarterback at this point in his career. He knows and he acknowledges that he is closer to the finish line than the start or the prime, I guess, of his career. So that isn't the most important thing right now for the Rams, which is a benefit because obviously that we're talking about a lot of money. And in all honesty, if you're talking about resumes and who deserves $55 million per year, Matthew Stafford could definitely make a great argument for that. But that's not something that he's worried about too much right now. The guaranteed money still remains the number one, but at this point, not only does it make sense to try and keep Matthew Stafford, I think it'll get done in the end, but it just comes down to the fact that he deserves it, really, first and foremost, for delivering them that Super Bowl once they made that big blockbuster trade to get rid of Jared Goff, bring in Matthew Stafford, and really invest so much years of first-round picks into Matthew Stafford. It was a big gamble just because nobody really knew too much about Cooper Kupp. Aaron Donald was great, but that defense could really perform up to that standard. The quarterback was the main issue, but then he came in, put all the pressure on his shoulders, and then delivered back there when he won the Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals. And just his performance overall, I think, really recognized as one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL, and now he is on a great team. He is getting that recognition, and he just deserves it from what I've seen him play, from I think what everybody feels that he deserves to be getting paid. And then bumping him up to, I think, if we're talking now a raise in his contract and how much that could go up to, I think potentially 44 to 46 would be all right for Matthew Stafford. Again, any amount, he would probably make a good case of saying that he deserves it, but I think going up to and matching Kyler Murray's $46 million per year, or just going over that a little bit, maybe not so much into the 50s because, like I mentioned, he is closer to the end, but going to maybe 46, 44, if you want to push it a little bit more to 48, but that's as high as I would go for Stafford, and I think that's an ideal landing spot that he would also agree upon because Kyler is the highest earning quarterback that's not making $50 million, so it doesn't come down to who's better. I think that's a pretty consensus vote. So if you were to bump it up that much by $5 million, $6 million even, I think Stafford would agree to that, and it would just push all this talk about that contract and getting the guaranteed money out of the way. Will it happen? I think it will happen. When it will happen, if Stafford is going off of what we've seen and everyone's going off of the fact that he's going to show up to training camp, I think it'll carry on towards the middle of August, potentially after the preseason a little bit, because it seems like no one's in that big of a rush. But if Stafford shows any sort of change in behavior that he is maybe thinking about missing training camp if this doesn't get resolved finally, then it'll be a little bit more of a pressurized situation, a bit more of a rush. So they're going to have to play it by ear. Everything's going to just have to be off of a feel of how the vibe's going with Matthew Stafford. But I think he has shown that he doesn't really care too much right now. It's out there that he wants it. He has told the organization that he wants his contract adjusted. Now it's just up to them and how much they're willing to wait. Testing Matthew Stafford's patience a little bit if they wait too long. So they're just going to have to go off of the feeling of it. I think he'll get it, but when that is still remains the biggest question. But on that note, we will move on to the first break of the show. And when we return, we're going to talk about Austin Ekeler finding a new home in Washington. But why did he leave the Los Angeles Chargers after having very successful seasons in the past? They arguably get rid of their best playmaker. Why that is, Austin Ekeler explains it a little bit more this past weekend, and we're going to get into that when we return. You're listening to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast.